So the first thing I'm doing, as always, is priming the eye area. I'm applying the Catrice primer today just with my finger, and the warmth of my finger is just helping that primer melt into the skin. So I've been getting really great feedback on my one brush videos. I decided then to upload another one this week. Today I'm showing you how to create a black smoky eye with a fluffy blending brush. My palette of choice then today is one that I built myself. It's from Penneys / Primark and it's part of their customised range. An empty 9-pan palette is €3 and each eyeshadow is €1, so very affordable and handy for travel as you combine your own shades. So I'm starting off with this light shimmery shade, which I'd mainly use for highlighting, so I'm building my colours from light to dark today, and that way I won't really have to clean off my brush. So I'm just patting that around the tear duct to add a nice pop to that area. Now I've wiped off my brush on a tissue to get rid of any excess product, and I'm going in now with this cool toned brown and I'm adding it into the crease. This shadow is matte, whereas the previous one was shimmery, and I didn't want those two textures to mix, which is why I wiped down my brush. So I'm gradually now just building up this colour in the crease, and I'd usually use a warm transition shade, but I've done that a lot lately, so I decided to change it up and to keep the look really deep and cool. Cool tones, in my opinion, blend kind of differently to warm tones. They can require a little more work, but you get there in the end. For those of you that don't know the drill by now, I'm using a small elastic hair bobble to adapt to my brush. I'm taking a bobble between my index finger and thumb and I'm putting it onto the brush. Once it's on the ferrule, steady the elastic with your thumb so it doesn't pop off, and with the other hand you want to twist the elastic and use your index finger and thumb again to loop the bobble around the brush head. Once I've done this a couple of times, I slide it up the ferrule and onto the bristles, and the further you move up the bobble, the more tapered the brush hairs will be, and then that's how you get a tapered blending brush. I just find this works well for precise eyeshadow application, so I'm using that now to get right in underneath that lower lash line. I'm gradually sweeping that shadow from outer to inner corner, and I'm making sure to connect that shadow up on the outer edge. Once that's in place, I'm taking the bobble off my brush and I'm using the fluffiness of the blending brush to really diffuse those edges. And with blending, if you find maybe you've lost some of the intensity of the shadow, just go back in, reapply and repeat the process until you're happy. Next then, I'm taking this deeper brown again and I'm working this on the outer edge of the eye, and then I'm bringing it across into the crease. And I'm tapping this colour down along the lid as well because I'll be adding a black next. And the more you work on applying and blending these first two shadows, the less work you'll have to do with the black, and black is a hard colour to blend, so it's worth putting the time into these two eyeshadows. The way I look on it is a black blends out to a kind of light grey, so by adding then and blending out these lighter shades, you can get away with applying the black eyeshadow just to the lid. Because the colours above it in the crease, the black would fade out too if blended anyway, if you get what I mean. I've popped the bobble back on my brush again now and I'm blending that eyeshadow down along the lower lash line. I'm using the fact that the brush is small and dense now to really pack that eyeshadow to get a nice colour payoff, and then I'm using my fluffy brush to blend out those edges. And if I just use the fluffy blending brush to apply the shadow, I'd get a lighter colour payoff, but I want this look to be intense and smoky, and that's why I've gone in with a tapered brush first. Now I'm taking the black eyeshadow on my fluffy blending brush and I'm working this across the lid area. And the really good thing with the Penneys shadows is I find even with sweeping motions I don't have fallout, which I find crazy for a black eyeshadow in general, but then due to the fact that these eyeshadows are only €1 each as well. So I'm just sweeping the shadow across the lid over and back a couple of times until I'm happy with the coverage across the lid. I want that lid to be nice and even and very black. I've popped back on my bobble now and I'm running the shadow down along the lower lash line. When you're using a fluffy blending brush to apply shadow to the lid, it can be hard to get right in at that lash line. So if you want to make sure that area is coated, dab some of the black along the lash line when you've got the bobble in place. I've taken the bobble off the brush now and I'm running the brush down along the lower lash line to fade out the black. I've been asked how to stop the shadow getting into your eye when working on the lower lash line, so I have 2 tips. Tap off the excess before you apply to the eye area and look up when you're smoking out the shadow. Next then, I'm taking the Note Cosmetics Intense Look Eye Pencil in black and I'm using this to line my waterline. And I'm also going to line my tight line too because I don't want any fleshy tones peeking through. I always set my liner in place, and you don't need an angled brush to do that. Pop the bobble back on the brush, pick up some more black eyeshadow and press along the waterline. And this just helps the black to appear more intense, and it also prevents it from smudging throughout the day. Next then I'm applying some lashes, and I've used some of the Black Kiss eyelash glue. This just saves time in the sense that you don't have to wait for the white glue to dry clear on the eyes. Usually you'd have to touch up with the lash line, but because the glue is black and the look is black, we don't really need to. To finish off the look then, I'm adding some mascara to my top and bottom lashes, and then that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and found it helpful. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.